If you're in the midst of narrowing down your focus as part of how you want your brand to evolve, then today's episode is going to be enormously helpful for you. Join me as I talk about that very thing with my client, Victoria Fleming. Let's go. If you're on this same journey as Victoria and you're looking at blah, blah, blah. One more time, I'm gonna get this. Right. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Boom. Done. Next. Before we get going on Victoria's story today, I want to remind you to subscribe to Mwah TV, especially if you identify as somebody who's on a brand evolution journey with your business right now. As well as sharing shoot results like we're going to do in a second, I go into the science and methodology that goes with really good brand strategy. So by subscribing, you're going to make sure that you're getting regular updates on that so that you're going to be able to navigate your journey into brand evolution a lot easier. Don't forget when you subscribe to make sure you hit the bell, and this way you're going to be notified every single Friday when a new episode comes out. We've featured Victoria Fleming on the show a couple of times already over the years, and I really want to give you a bit more information so that you get the context to see where she's come from to fully understand where she wants to go with her business next. Victoria was actually one of my pioneering clients. So back in 2016, she was like the second or the third person who went for my full Sch-Whammy photo shoot service that I had just developed. What you need to know about the full Sch-Whammy service is that it comes with a whole crew that I creatively direct. So you get a stylist to help you pick out all of your outfits, hair person, makeup person. We do a whole location scouting piece. So this really is a headshot session taken up to the next level into a branded photo shoot experience. And it results in a much larger collection of diverse photography that you can use in your business. Back then, Victoria had this to say about her experience of the service.
The full day was really exciting as well. We did loads of different stuff, tried loads of different clothes. And it was really nice to kind of feel quite relaxed about that as well, because I was really a bit nervous about it. I'd never really done something like that before. And it was great fun. I was laughing away. And then at the end of it, I got the photos, and the photos were just amazing. So if you are thinking about going for Laura's full Sch-Whammy headshots, then I'd really recommend pick up the phone and have a chat with her.
And if you want to go and watch that full video, you can right here. I'm going to put a link to that below in the show notes for you to check out later if you want to go down memory lane with us. We then shot more photography together, but this time it was speaker photography. Victoria had a gig where she was talking at a business expo here in the northeast of the UK. So she asked me to come along and do some speaker photography for her. You can see some of these images now on the screen. Then flash forward 3 years to 2019, Victoria was booked to talk on the Atomicon stage. And again, we worked together and it was really fun. How amazing are her shoes, by the way? This was what stood out to me the most. Now, over this time and the time that I've known Victoria, what you need to know about her is that she is a real go-getter. She's full of energy. She describes herself as an energetic sales trainer, and she really is a bundle of energy. But what a lot of people don't know about Victoria is that she is very methodical at testing lots of different avenues. So in the whole time that I've known her, when we've worked together or when we've been networking or just hanging out, Victoria's been actively exploring different avenues for her business.
Entrepreneurs, retail, mortgage advisors, business travel, retail banking, telecoms, gas, electric, water, marketing agencies, education technology, fintech, cleaning companies, genuinely someone who crochets tablecloths, CCTV, SEO, websites, training, bits that go on diggers, manufacturing, logistics software, BIM software, IT services.
And as a really skilled sales expert, you can imagine that when Victoria sets her mind to it, she's really good at selling stuff to new people. So I think this is something that a lot of business owners struggle with, actually, the sales process. Victoria, that comes natural to her, but this idea of focusing down felt quite restrictive to her over this period of time. But then something happened, didn't it, Victoria?
So the big realization that I eventually had was that I love doing what I do. So if someone says to me, can you help me sell insert item here? Then I would say yes, because I can. And I love it. The challenge with that is it means that every single time I was doing any work, I was constantly reinventing the wheel, coming up with new ideas, new approaches, which, while it was really exciting for me, actually meant that I was spreading myself really thin. And actually, when I got right down to it, what I realised was that probably 80 to 90% of my work in any given year was always in software and tech, because actually that's what I'm really good at. And it's what I get super excited about as well. Like, genuinely, I get really excited about pressing buttons and go, oh my God, it's amazing. Imagine what you could do with. Yeah, I'm a bit annoying like that. So the irony was, it wasn't so much of something that happened that actually made me think about where I wanted to position myself. It was more a recognition and realization of something I was doing already, but actually nobody knew that I really was. Everyone saw me as a really general sales trainer and consultant. And while that was a lot of fun, actually what that meant was that some of the people who I'd really loved to work with didn't really know that that was what I did. And that was why I knew that this was the time to start to really reposition and hone in and actually tell people, you know what, I'm amazing at this and you should totally talk to me about it, because actually I'm not a generalist, I'm a specialist in software and technology sales. And then that was a really big thing, because then I realised that I needed to look at my brand, I needed to look at my website, I needed to look at how I was showing up actually. I needed to stop being so general and just generally helpful to people, and actually show the people who I really wanted to show up for that I was exactly the person that they needed to speak to, and illustrate the results that I could deliver. I already had great photography, but my great photography was quite general, and actually it was representing a brand that I felt that I'd moved on from. And that was really why I started to look for new photography, a brand reposition, and a new website.
The Buzztastic name remained, but instead things evolved as a result of working with Anna Brand. So Victoria used to have this burst of energy that was all in very feminine colours, and Anna's recommended that Victoria evolves this into something a little bit more sophisticated that sits really well in the world of tech. To fit with the updated brand, we agreed that going with a green screen setup for this session was probably a really good idea. We wanted to make sure that we could have a controlled environment in December. Notoriously, the weather's terrible here in the UK, so shooting indoors was a great shout, step one. And then we wanted to make sure that we could social distance and still get some really good photographs as a result. So going with a green screen environment with the right amount of space, that fitted as well. But most importantly, I wanted to give Victoria and the rest of her team a really diverse set of flexible images that they could use as they needed on her social media feeds, on the new website, and on and on and on. So she was going to get real bang for her buck this time. Let's take a look at shoot day.
Shoot day before Christmas. A little bit nervous actually. This is the first socially distant shoot I've done. I've been really scared about the whole thing all year, so I've, where possible, pushed people back or just refused work. I've got my mask. We've made sure that neither of us have any symptoms, and I've got my zoom lens, so I'll keep you posted on how it goes. But I'm on it, honestly, I'm a little bit nervous. I usually get nervous before shoots anyway. I think that's a really good sign that you care a lot about what you do. But this is with Victoria. We've worked a lot together over the years, so I'm really pleased that it's not somebody I'm working with for the first time. So yeah, stay tuned. We've just finished outfit one there. I'm having a little breather off my mask. So I thought I'd show you the setup. So this is another green screen background shoot that I'm doing. These are still uber trendy. So Victoria has this green wall. So this saves us a lot with equipment hire and general faffing about. So let's take a look at the setup. Low level softbox on one side and then a slightly higher level softbox, and then we've got softbox above the camera and the camera's on the tripod. The reason we have these softboxes like this is to make this green wall as flat as possible. So this means no shadows, which is a godsend when you're cutting somebody out, especially like Victoria with spiky hair or like special features that she has on her shoes. It just makes your life much easier in post-production.
Let's take a look at these images in situ on Victoria's fresh and new updated website.
So this is the new site now. Remember, you have to say it's amazing. So there's some great things going on here. I'm super excited about the brand. I was never really sure that I could get away from my pink and purple brand. And here we are with like this really bright in your face, this teal green and this really dark navy. And actually, I love it. I really love it. And the fact that we did the photos on the green screen has meant that we've been able to do some really cool stuff with them on the website. Designbox, who did the website, was so great at really listening and understanding like where I was going with it, in who I am and who the business is. So I always say we're not boring coconut flooring. We are exciting, energizing, we're really innovative. How do you get that across with a brand palette and some images? And what the website guys really did was work with everyone to bring that together into a cohesive look and feel. And they did an amazing job, I think. One of the great things as well with the photography is being the way that it's really kind of like popping out of the screen as well. And that's really nice because I like to think that I pop out the screen a bit. So you should totally come and check out Laura's photography. And actually the brand, the way that we're now presenting, that I feel is really showing the people that I want to speak to, that I'm here and that I'm showing up for them. Then come across, visit the website. It's www.buzztastic.co.uk.
Now, I've never really taken the time to talk about how I try and support my clients with rebranding and the launching part of how that looks for a lot of businesses. I'm definitely not the type of photographer that is in and out. I do my photos, you've got your images, see you later. I've never been that person. I like to really go into the consultancy side, but I also really like to support my clients on the other side as well. And for some reason, I've never talked about that before. So let's do that now. Now, as Victoria is one of my pioneering clients and she's a really loyal client as well, I wanted to make sure that I could do as much as possible to help her launch this rebrand message with her audience. Now, it was important to me that I help and work well with the team that she already has to talk about how the photography played a role in that, but most importantly, hammer home why she's updated her brand so that people understand why she's making this brand evolution decision. As well as drip feeding and testing out her new brand look on social media posts, I suggested we do something together in a collaborative way to talk about how the photography played a role in the evolution of Victoria's brand. This resulted in Victoria hosting a LinkedIn live show that I was a guest on, and together we gave some of our shared connections a little bit of a live crit, like an off the top of the head live crit about their profile images, but then we also made sure we talked about how we just worked together again and why the brand was evolving. So people were getting a couple of little bonuses as well as understanding Victoria's key message. If you're using this lens to take a selfie, which is obviously the easiest way to do it, as opposed to, you can do it that way, but you'll be setting it up on a tripod. When you're doing it, it's really hard. And it's like when you're doing a live, you want to look at your own face. Like that's me looking into the camera now, but I know as we're talking, I'm sometimes looking down here because that's where my face is. Yeah. That's what you're doing, Michael. So you might be looking at your face and you're like, I've definitely got it in shot, but you need to take that moment to look right into the little lens, just to get your eyes right.
And actually, there's a couple of questions in the chat before this. So I'm actually just going to pop a couple up. I'm doing so well with the technology here. Here we go. So this is from Gudrun.
Hi,
and I think
Gudrun.
this is so relevant, like at this precise moment in time, because right now, you know, we are in pandemic. A lot of us are working from home. And I think it's a real question about like how smart do you actually need to be in your business headshots? You know, it does seem that there's an increasingly fine line between the professional and the off the clock, which I think we all identify with. But how should that represent, like, actually in your profile picture? And what are your thoughts around that?
So authenticity is important, but it's also very misinterpreted. So the way that I like to explain this, I have a slide actually when I'm doing talks, and this is how I do it in a visual way. Your business headshot, so your official headshot or official brand profile picture, should be you in your most polished, best self. So if you were going to think about that as a pyramid, the business headshot would be at the top of the pyramid. And I'm really passionate about people sharing selfies. And I think that even if you have a professional business headshot, you should still be documenting your day-to-day with selfies. So the less professional, more like I'm in lockdown, I'm wearing my PJ bottoms, or I'm walking the dog, or I've got no makeup on. All those things that you would associate with this awful term authenticity would go underneath the pyramid. So when somebody comes to find you, it's all about them, by the way. This isn't as much about you. So if someone was going to come and look for you, Gudrun, the top of your pyramid is the headshot that we've got here. Then if I go on your social media, and I know what you're going to say to this because I know you well, Gudrun, when I go on your social media, I would then expect to see a day-to-day account of what's going on in Gudrun's world. Gudrun shares lots of pictures of wine and cheese, which I'm also a big advocate of, but I know she on purpose dodges doing selfies. So I would say, Gudrun, I want to see those amazing selfies of when you're in France or when you're out walking your dog. And that's what goes here. And this is what rounds out the explanation that should be beautifully, concisely explained in the top image.
You know what I'm always really conscious about is your headshot's almost quite static, isn't it? You know, your profile picture, you know, it's something that I don't really change my profile picture very much, because I almost want people to go, oh, it's her. Like
it's
in a nice
discoverability,
like, oh, it's Victoria, you know. So it's almost like that is something that for me, I've always tried to keep a little bit more static so that I'm a little bit more recognizable, like out and about around the place. Like on
it's
social.
about search. Like if you were to meet somebody at a conference and you're hitting it off with them over coffee, you're going to say, yeah, let's connect. You're probably not as likely these days to say, here's my business card. You're going to go and look at them on LinkedIn. And while I'm doing that, in between talking with someone else or getting another coffee, I'll be like, oh yeah, there she is. So it's recognizability. But then because I like to be on Instagram, I'd be over on Instagram. If I can't see the exact same photo that I've now got in my memory next to your name, it's going to make it harder for me to find you and connect with you. So this is an important extra little tip. Your profile picture should be the same across all social media. And that's not about you. It's not about the mood of your content on social. It's for other people to be able to find you. Let's talk about your business strategy. Let's talk about who you're selling to. Let's talk about what's going to appeal to them. And then let's try and tell that in a story that's in an image. So I always say a picture has 1,000 words. Let's make those 1,000 words about your brand.
Don't forget, you can meet more of my clients and see more of me on photo shoots by watching this playlist next. And I'll see you next week. Mwah.
Now, before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe.